Hey guys, Mike Harris here. And the other day I had the pleasure of doing a read for Dr. Dr Lant's newest addition to his Memoirs. And when the recording was rendered to YouTube, I discovered that the sound was going in and out so much, I don't think it did justice to the writing that Dr. Lant did. And so I'm going to do a reread tonight. I'm going to upload it back to YouTube, and I'm going to send Dr. Lant a copy because it is really a fantastic write. Dr. Lant, he writes content for us at World Profit, and we use his content to generate traffic and leads. But he's in the process of finishing up his memoir, and we want to share this because, again, it is really a good write. Dr. Lant, CEO, CEC. Afterword, by the author, and some particular words on the genre called Memoirs. You have before you a sizable chunk of the life story for the Dr. Lant, born feisty and flailing, determined limbs in Maine, according to his father, Donald Marshall Lant, February 16, 1947. I thought this story worth writing before I had even written a single word. I still think so, having now written a good many words. The only thing that is significantly different is that you are now rendering your judgment on my craft. And I would be lying if I told you your opinion doesn't matter to me, for it most assuredly does. Thus, the very first and crucial thing to be enumerated here that is quite different, even unique, is my email address, drjlant@worldprofit.com. It is the only email address I've ever had or expect to have. And it is my privilege to give it to you with the sincere good hope you will share your thoughts on this book and the 19 previous volumes I've written for you to enlighten, to instruct, to provoke, to befriend. For the loyalty engendered by these millions of published words is humbling and a thrill that never dwindles or diminishes. A different kind of model. Right from the start, you will notice that I have not told my tale sequentially. That is because real life is not sequential, and I wanted truth and verisimilitude. Rather, it is episodic, a veritable popcorn popper of desperate events, some related, a few even sequential, most not even remotely. In other words, we are all in a cauldron of disconnected events, a hodgepodge nicely summed up in this observation. Life is what happens when you're making other plans. This way of presenting my life and times may perplex you, confuse, irritate, even exasperate, until you consider the last day or two of your own life. How much was well ordered? Just so. Exactly the way you planned and wanted. I think we both know the answer to that. I wanted to write my life the way it occurred, not as I might have wished. Your life is as spontaneous, unplanned, helter-skelter, and uncontrollable as mine. I merely had the audacity and opportunity to tell it as it happened. Written live on screen. Have you ever wondered how writers spin their tales? Where they are when they do so, how they do so, and how we take from ourselves with the Herculean task and boldness to change the world, one carefully selected word at a time. Here I am, not merely audacious, but one of a kind, sui generis, and proud of it. From day one, when I began to work on this considerable project, not just think about it, I did something no other significant writer has ever done. I wrote this book live and in front of the very considerable number of WorldProfit.com customers, littered wildly over the world, well over 2 million strong, carried to even greater, daunting numbers by YouTube and many other communication titans of this wired age. Thus, at any time of their day or night, they might venture by only to see me at work, the full panoply of authorship in all its glorious and habitual disarray, fully apparent. I got the universal reputation for being up and at my exacting task 24 hours a day. It was never true, of course, but I saw no reason to say otherwise. So are the greatest legends born. So do these legends take root, grow, and become the most tenacious truth. I am now on this path, curious to see where it takes me, for I am a person of history, even if only for a moment, as indeed we all are. How I constructed this book, block by block. Always the objective of this book was not merely to crush you with one fact, nor merely how important or another. I do not believe in that kind of standard, pedestrian history. Rather, whenever possible, I strive to bring you into the event, thus giving it a you are there feeling. Or, for I like this description even better, a fly on the wall feeling. I want you to experience the event as I did. This is not an easy thing, the task of a master. To achieve this objective, I work hard, gathering far more facts on the matter I'm going to write about than I can possibly use. This gathering of abundance is done on purpose, because at this stage, I am not sure just where my story is going, or what I need when I'm finally right. I learned this technique from poor old Mom, who applied it first to painting. I recall one day she was telling me that a figure painter had to paint his picture so that the viewer could see there was a real body underneath, its anatomy painted accurately, meticulously, and in truth, even if it was entirely by elaborate costume or radiant skin. It had to be there, no skimping or shortcuts allowed. The same is true of the best writing and the incidents therein. You might never describe your subject's clothes or how he played with his dog, much less write these facts, but you knew them, and it showed in the truth of what you wrote. And remember this: the best writers always know such truth and know it is far superior to mere fact and complete accuracy. If you don't know what I mean, it is because you are not yet and may never be a writer worth reading. Practice harder, practice more. Know not only what is rendered, but what is not. Gathering your information. Writing is the last thing you do as a writer. There's much more to do beforehand, or you will write more dross than Jim. First, on a counter, organize your papers and your brain. Mine, as you know, consists of 1,900 pounds of rare, dazzling blue aurora quartzite, a semi-precious stone. It is shimmering now under the chandelier at 4:50 a.m. this Monday morning. It is practical. It is wildly expensive. It soothes me and reminds me that Keats was right, and I am happy. Of course, it is always cluttered with items of greatest possible importance, from detailed in-progress notes helping to establish the proof positive provenance of my latest old master to a blurred receipt for that entirely forgettable hamburger I gulped last summer with predictable results. The only possible justification being my well-worn saying that all information is useful at a point. Gather here all information applicable to your chapter in progress. Make sure this contains all background material and those aha notes, which can and do pop up at the oddest times and places, and which are so easy to forget to your considerable consternation and regret. Here you should focus on just the chapter you're writing, editing, copying, and preserving. In this connection, you should write no more than a couple of paragraphs before saving your work. This is absolutely essential and may very well save you from the greatest loss any writer can experience, the loss of your precious words. Note: be sure to keep all drafts for each chapter in its own folder. While your opus is in progress, throw away nothing, absolutely nothing, for I've already told you everything is useful at a point. Let Eureka be your guide. Now read your words. Or better yet, let your writer's team do so. You do have one, don't you? Well, don't you? My, oh my. I'm looking right now into the face of Pastor Michael Harris, Danville, Virginia. He is a member of my team. What does he do? First of all, he is sentient, experienced, thoroughly adult presence. He sees what I first wrote, what was then edited in and edited out. He sees what my brain is considering and what has now been dropped, at least for now. But this is by no means all. He sits there before me, hundreds of miles away, as a canvas, waiting for my hand to arrange whatever he then sees. I think, I write. I post for Michael to see, to comment on, thus to enter into a partnership that has as its daring objective the rendering of perfection, though this may, from time to time, seem not just daring or unlikely or difficult, but even impossible. And so Michael, from the very first syllable he sees, has entered into a compact with me to assist in the arrangement of the words, which can so often be recalcitrant or obdurate. For this magic moment, we need magic music. Voila! Summon the theme from E.T., composed by John Williams, 1982. Fills my brain and lifts me until I, too, am doing wheelies across the moon on my battered bicycle. Play it now and experience the joy of flight, of inspiration achieved, of being young, oh, so young again, filled with joy and hope that will take you, yes, is taking you to wherever you have dreamed of going and are now on your way. I remember the first time I heard this tune. It was in the balcony of the Harvard Square Cinema on Church Street. Not even a 5-minute walk from where I am writing to you now. I hear it, and I ascend it to a better place, a place of wonderment and high-flying joy. Then it happened. I started crying, sobbing. I looked at my oldest friend, Bob Dodson, and he was crying too. He squeezed my hand, and we both experienced what only Hollywood at its soaring best can deliver. Total, complete, pure, unsullied exultation. Yes, it was happening to me, to Bob, and to every man in the theater. Yes, even to the men who never cried, but were now sniffling, sleeve to nose in unembarrassed happiness. We were all flying, saving E.T., doing the good deed, helping him to go where we all want to go, home. Yes, we comrades all and forever. We're all helping get this fellow creature and his friend home. Yes, we would help E.T. go home, though we would never see each other again. Thus were sadness and joy mixed, as they are so often in life, the greatest triumphs and the most devastating defeats, the work of a single moment. But we were not thinking of that just then. We were glad to be alive and in the right place, a moment of sheer exultation and innocence, a moment to be relived and cherished till death do us part, and perhaps not even then. Then this rare and precious moment was shattered by a girl in the third row, who turned sharply in her seat, the better to glare at us, every male present. "Shh," she said. "Hush, you sissies." And that stern-faced girl, irritated, exasperated, spoke for every woman in the audience. And I learned that each gender cries at different things, and never the twain shall meet. Dr Lant, COCC, World Prophet. Another fine addition to Dr. Lant's Memoirs, and this is in progress. Dr. Lant, we appreciate the opportunity to share this, and we hope the reading is at the same level of the writing. God bless.